It's time for Be All You Can Be right here on the Beat 99.9 FM. The Catalyst is right here in the studio, and we have a special guest right here in the studio with us today.
Wow. I like the way you opened the show. Put me in a particular mood. So you know what? I'm just going to channel your question directly to our guest.
To our guest.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is, you've got that particular person in the house,
Yes, indeed. We
happy to be here. Happy to be here.
Banky W.
None other than Banky W in the building.
Good morning, sirs. Good morning, sirs. Happy to be here.
How are you today, sir?
I'm fine, sir.
Wow. Banky?
Yes, sir.
We have come a long way.
We have. Oh.
And stop this summer.
You knew me when I was 3 feet tall. 3 feet tall.
It's quite interesting, I've known Banky W since when? How many years ago was that?
I was 13, so
13 years old.
I was at least.
Wow.
That was 20 years ago, actually.
Yeah, 20 years ago. And Banky's always been a very, very humble, young.
I'm still young. I'm still young.
Yeah. Forward thinking.
Thank you, sir.
Dreamer. He's always had big dreams.
Thank you, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
You've come a long way.
We thank God, sir.
And your signature beard.
When I was young, I didn't have any I didn't have this kind of beard, but it's here.
What are you gonna look like without a beard?
I don't know. I've actually thought about that because I've been carrying this since pretty much my first year of university.
Wow.
So I actually haven't seen my face without a beard on in so long. So sooner or later, I think I'm just going to shave it off and check it out. I feel like I'll walk along the streets of Lagos, people won't recognize me.
You know what you could do? You could actually put your picture on maybe like Photoshop and remove the beards and check it out.
I can, right?
First, before you try it.
Maybe I should. I'm a little nervous. I haven't not had a beard in, I don't know, donkey years.
Same here. I've had a beard since secondary school, and I've kept my beard since secondary school.
Actually, as long as I've known you, you've looked exactly like this.
Wow.
100%. You haven't changed 1 inch.
Wow.
Yeah.
We thank God.
Yeah, you've had a beard since secondary school?
Yes.
Wow.
I'll tell a story. When I was in Igobi College, the authorities used to, ensure that we shave. And I was so naughty. I was a kura. I was a kura in secondary school, and I would always try to avoid it. So since from 3, from 4, from 5.
Beard gang.
Yeah, beard gang.
Let's
Me
go.
And my guys.
No free publicity here.
And Banky, I thought you were gonna wear a hat or a cap. So I just decided to wear one of mine. So you have a signature. Either a hat, a cap, and the beard. And that's down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost didn't recognize him today. So he didn't have the hat or cap on.
Stop it now.
One thing about this guy, this guy is he's clean.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm not talking about just looks. He's clean. His career, his upbringing, his music, his everything that he does is clean. Now, I'm going to label him Nigeria's #1 musician of honor.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's big.
You are a man of honor.
Thank you,
as
sir.
it comes to music.
We should get a certificate to go with that.
He exemplifies, what the young people should aspire for. And congratulations, Banky.
I'm humble, sir. Thank you very
Congratulations on the
Civic thing,
ambassadorship.
Thank you, sir.
Wow, when I read the story about how Civic started, I was blown away. Now, for you to be chosen as an ambassador, that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Man, I feel blessed, man. I feel very, very blessed. I think blessed is the word. I think my entire career, I've just been blessed and very fortunate and very favored. It's definitely an honor to be associated with a company like that and a brand like that only really, they're very selective who they deal with, across the world. I mean, there's an international cast of celebrities and they're very, very, very picky about, who they end up doing business with. So for me to be chosen to be amongst that cast is definitely an honor.
Wow, and also Samsung.
Yes, Samsung and also MTN.
Wow. So looking at the brands that you associate with, looking at the brands that come to seek you out, the top brands in every market that they play in, you know, that must say something about who you are. That must say something about your identity. That must say something about your character. You know, so I'm not just paying lip service to when I say that you're a man of honor.
Thank you.
Right, those brands, MTN, Samsung, and now Civic, have confirmed and affirmed the fact that you're one. Now being one, right? Banky.
No, I just saw a question directed at Banky on Facebook. I just had to laugh.
What was it?
Let me try and read it how it was written.
Okay.
Banky, now when you go marry?
Are we at that question already? I've not been here 5 minutes.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get to love of women. Today's topic is about love. So we're building it up gradually.
I'm nervous about that part of the program, to be honest.
Don't worry, Banky.
Everything else I'm good with. That one is my, we'll see.
Okay, we'll get there.
We'll get.
So having been affirmed as a man of honor, having been poached by the top brands globally as their representative and ambassador, and I'm sure a lot of those brands don't take it lightly who they associate with.
Absolutely.
Now, what would you say, right, are the qualities of a leader of honor? Because you see, in the last couple of weeks, we've been talking country politics and our leadership, and I know that you are very, very, proactive.
Outspoken, yeah.
You're very outspoken, and you speak based on your convictions, regardless of whose ox is God.
Right.
Who is the leader of honor, and what are the character traits of leaders of honor as we position for 2015?
It's a great question. I like to speak from personal experience. I mean, I don't necessarily consider myself an expert on the subject. Obviously, that's your territory. But as far as using myself as an example, if I may, I think that it's about integrity, it's about character, it's about standing up for what you believe in. It's about just who you are, and not changing who you are for anything, be it money or whatever distractions may come in the way. So for me, I've always tried, and God giving me the grace, I've always tried to be exactly who I am and to represent myself to the best of my ability, and that's it. I don't whether I think it's going to work or not, or whether it's what's popular or what's in, or what have you. I think I just try to stay true to myself, and just be who I am and who I know myself to be, and then I hope that people will come along with what I'm trying to do, but I'm not going to change who I am for anything or anyone, and that's really the basis of everything that I do.
Wow. So what you say is a man of honor is a man that is authentic. He knows who he is, and he's true to who he is.
Absolutely.
And regardless of what goes on without and around him, trying to influence him, he stays true to who he is.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You say that so much better than me.
All right. We've still got to talk about the love of country. Who Banky, what party Banky is rooting for, and why he's rooting for them. Why does he want to choose those leaders? And why not the other parties? And we're going to talk about love of music. He's a music producer. He's now a director. We're going to talk about love of film.
Lights, camera, action.
Cameras, love of cameras, man. Then we're going to talk about love of women. You ain't escaping. So stay tuned.
Have mercy.
The first thing is to exercise your constitutional right to vote. Now, when you vote, right, don't just keep it that way. Make sure, first of all, that you vote your convictions.
Yep.
Don't vote on ethnic lines. Don't vote on religious lines. Vote who you believe and who you have a conviction. That will take us to the next level. Now, the next thing is, look, we cannot all sit back and be pointing fingers. We all have to get involved one way or the other. For as long as we sit back and we don't get involved with politics, we don't get involved with policy, we don't get involved at the center, we will continue to put people there that we hope and we're consistently hoping that will do the job. Men, if you believe that you are called, if you believe that you have a contribution, you've got to step forward.
Absolutely.
I often say to people, we deserve the leaders that we have.
Yeah, every country deserves the leadership that it has.
Because we've put them there. So Banky, my next question, are you positioning for office anytime in the future?
Ah man, I've gotten this question quite a bit because of the involvement that I have and because of how outspoken that I am. And I will say this, you know, they say never, right? So I can't say that no, I definitely will never run for office or anything like that. I will say though that it's not in my immediate plans. I'm actually, I consider myself a bit of a change agent. I consider myself a bit of a, you know, the spark that can kind of influence who's there and influence who gets in there, and you know, even the people that are there, that can be one of the voices, like Daniela was saying, one of the people that holds them in check, that says, oh, you know, what are you doing about this, what are you doing? And that's why whenever anything happens in the country, I'm very outspoken about it. When there's protests and walks, you always see me at the front lines, because I consider myself, with the platform that I have, one of the people that can help the country hold our leaders accountable. So, you know, in the future, is it possible? Maybe. It's not in my immediate, I mean, I'm very, very fulfilled where I am now, and I'm very happy with what the things that I'm doing, but I'm using the platform that I have now to try and bring about the positive change in Nigeria that we want.
Now, Banky, I know that you did not go into music because of the fame, because of the money, because of the, you know, popularity that it will give you. Because, you know, I know, I've seen you evolve. You know, I know your family, and I know what values you hold. Right?
Yes, sir.
So it's not a case of, oh, I went into music because that was the only way out. Right.
Right.
Now, why did you decide to go into music? Because your background, you went to university,
yeah.
You studied, you graduated. Then, you know, why?
Yeah. Why? Here's the thing. I think that when you know your, I'm careful to use these words, but when you know your calling and your destiny and what you're passionate about and what your heart is focused on, then everything else becomes kind of secondary to that. And so, I mean, you've known me since I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
And you know that I've been singing and making music and performing and, you know, all of that since that time.
Yeah.
And so it's something that has always been there. Now, it was never something that I was going to say, oh, let me quit school and start singing full-time 24/7, because I just felt like, you know what, I want an education. I want to be able to speak, you know, in certain arenas where you have to be educated to do that. And so it was never my goal to quit school or to drop out or anything like that. But while I was going to school and while I was getting my engineering degree and so on and so forth, I never let the music dream go, because that's really where my heart was. And I felt like that's what I was meant to do. I'll tell you a funny, just one quick statement. I went back to my high school, home science, to, you know, visit and so on and so forth. And my teacher there, actually he said many profound things which really blew me away. But one of the things that he said, when, you know, some people asked him, oh, you know, what was he like? And he said that I was so good at many things, and that I was, you know, quite intelligent at math and science and all of that, but that if I had ended up to be anything in this world other than a musician, or like I could have been a rocket scientist, I could have worked for Microsoft, I could have gone farther in engineering, and he would have been a little bit disappointed, because he felt that from when I was that young, he knew that this boy is supposed to be singing or writing or acting. He's supposed to be doing something in the creative field. And so he said that he would have been disappointed if I ended up as anything else. And so I think that goes to show you that, you know, especially to the parents out there, if there's something that your child is passionate about and that your child is good at, encourage them. You know, yes, let them do, you know, the things that they need to do to take care of their lives, but encourage them, because you never know, that might just be what brings bread to the table.
You know, Banky, and this brings to remembrance Mrs. Wellington.
My mother! I wish she was listening right now.
Mrs. Wellington.
Mrs. Rosemary Wellington.
Strict woman. How did you convince her?
I love my mother.
That woman, eh?
I
can remember the way she walks, the way she comes to church, the way she...
Yes, yes. Actually, I just spoke to her last night.
Wow.
How did I convince her? You know, I think, and I get this question a lot from young people who are, maybe their parents are struggling with their decisions of what they want to do. And I'll say this, the reason your parents will argue with you or fight you or whatever based on what you want to do. It's because they love you and they want to make sure that you're okay. And so sometimes in their realm, in their reality, they don't know that this thing that you want to do can work out. And so because you're their kid and because they love you, they're like, no, don't do this. Go to school, do this, do that, because that's what they know. And you know, once you understand it like that, then there's a lot of the war is removed, because you understand that it's from a place of love, that they're worried that you're going to, you know, are you going to be okay or are you not? And so when I was coming up, yeah, my parents, you know, my mother, my mom, you know, my mom had, you know, struggles with accepting that this boy, is he going to sing, you know, how is he going to fend for himself? Even more so when I wanted to move back to Nigeria, because as you know, none of my family members actually live here. So, you know, it was tough for them to understand and to accept. But at the same time, I was doing everything else. I was getting good grades in school. I graduated. I actually had a great job in engineering. So by the time I got to that point, I said, okay, you know what? Now that I've done all of this, I think that, you know, this is my window of opportunity to do what I really want to do. And I have my degree. I have an education. If it doesn't work out, I'll move back to the States. I'll get a master's. I'll do something else. But this is the time that I need to put this to the side and really focus on this thing. And I actually asked my parents for a year and a half. I said, give me a year and a half, give me a blessing to just go do what I want to do for a year and a half. I've gotten my degree, you know, just free me to go. And they gave me that permission.
Wow, you know, this is very profound, you know, and I'm going to come back to my next question, but you know, they said there's time and chance happens to all, and that there is chronological time and there's kairos time. Chronological time is time that unfolds seconds to minutes, minutes to hours, hours to days, days to weeks, weeks to months, months to years, right? But the kairos is the God-appointed time. Now, from what you have said to me, you knew the time. Or you had a sense of the time to get in because you saw the window. How did you know, Banky? Because there's millions of young people out there that have talents, major talents, right? How did you know that it was time? And you asked for 1.5. I'm sure you knew that once you give me that 1.5 years, I ain't coming back, right? So how did you know?
Well, actually, here's the thing. First of all, I'm not going to pretend that, you know, I'm that wise of a person or that I knew 100% sure that it was going to work. I really didn't. But I felt like, you know, to a certain extent, I had fulfilled all righteousness. I'd gotten my degree. I'd had my backup plan. Everything was fine. And, you know, if I didn't kind of throw caution to the wind and jump off the boat, then I would live the rest of my life thinking, what if I had gone? What if I had tried? This thing could have worked out, you know, and it was eating away at me. My passion and what I felt like I was called to do, what I felt like I was meant to do, would have eaten away at me for the rest of my life. And so it had gotten to the point where I was like, you know what, I need to try. I need to satisfy my own mind and my own urges and my own, I need to say, you know what, let me give this thing a shot. And if I get it out of my system, if for whatever reason it doesn't work, then at least I know that I gave it 100%. And that's what I tell people is like, do what you want to do. You know, we talked earlier about being true to yourself. At the end of the day, you're the one that's going to live your life. Nobody's going to live it with you. So if you're going through life doing things because other people think you should, I mean, I sang the Jai Rimi song. It's like people always have an opinion of who you should be, of what you should do, or maybe the thing you're doing is not correct or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're true to yourself and if you do what it is you want to do, then you'll be okay because it's what you want to do. But now imagine if you are doing what everybody else says, or you're not really following your passions or your heart, then as that doesn't work out, you'll be twice as frustrated because it's not even what you wanted to do in the first place. So, you know, for me, that's really what it boiled down to. Is like, you know what, I need to be true to myself. I need to go chase my dreams. I need to try. There's, you know, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if I just stayed where I was in my bubble, you know, in my engineering job and so on and so forth, my happiness would never have come. You know, now if it didn't work out, because it doesn't work out in every situation for everybody, that's the truth about life. But if it didn't work out, you know, at least I know that I gave it 100% and I went for what I wanted.
So Banky, you studied engineering. how much of what you learned in engineering and you know, the processes and the systems in that, you know, form of education, or the education that you got, helps you today?
A tremendous amount of business that I do today, I owe to the education that I have. A lot of people don't actually know the extent of what my company does and the things that I'm involved in.
Please tell us.
I don't want to say too much, but I'll say that it's much more than going on stage and singing. I mean, okay, one of my favorite parables in the Bible, not that I want to preach, but one of my favorite parables in the Bible is the one about the talents. The story that Jesus told, and he said somebody was given 10, somebody was given 5, somebody was given 1. I'm paraphrasing, but the guy with 10 went, sowed that, and came back with 10 more. The guy with 5 sowed that and came back with 5 more. The guy with 1 went and buried it and hid it somewhere and came back with the exact same thing that God had given him. And so the way that I look at that is this. I mean, I've been singing since I was a kid. So if all I do in my life is just sing and just show up when they call me to sing, and I sing and I go home, then I've actually failed. You understand? That music and all of that is a platform. It's a door that's supposed to lead on to many other things. And so for me now, as a company, yes, okay, I'm an artist and I'm a record label executive. A lot of people don't know that we do events. We do sound, stage, lights, we do events production. We're involved in advertising. There's some advertising campaigns that you see out there that don't have my face or voice to it, but we're the ones that did it. So we're involved in advertising, we're involved in consulting, we're involved in events management. You know, I'm a director now. I'm a chef in training. At some point I'm going to open my own restaurant. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. Like I believe in growth, I believe in expansion, I believe in the minute Steve Jobs said, stay hungry, stay foolish. You never really want to be satisfied with where you are. There's always something more that you can do. There's always a new goal. There's always a new height to attain. So I'm constantly pushing myself. Okay, it's good, you know, I'm successful now, but you know, what else can I do? How can I grow this? How can I expand my business? How can I expand my horizons? And that's how I think constantly.
Wow. So I hear, you know what, you know, get an education and pursue your passion and live your life for yourself, be authentic, original, and maximize your potential. You know, engage all your talents and all your gifts. Now, there are two more questions that I have for you. You know, the love of God, because you see, a lot of the things that you have said, right? You have used certain scriptures, you have used certain terminology.
I can't run away from my background.
And I know where we met, and I know how far we came together.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, your love of God, because you see, you're a role model, and people really need to know what your anchor is. They need to know what your foundation is.
Absolutely.
Because you see, they see all these razzmatazz, they see all this fame and all this, you know, that this guy don't blow. What is your foundation?
Without a question, without a doubt, the reason that I am where I am today is 100% due to the grace of God. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. Everybody has their own belief system, but I know, you know, this is true to me and this is real to me. And I think that at the end of the day, your spirituality is something that you can't. My spirituality is something that I can't, you know, run away from. I realize that I'm very much a work in progress. I'm not a pastor in any way, shape, or form. And for me, you know, obviously, I'm kind of living my life, and my journey and my struggle is a bit of, it's on the public stage. Everybody gets to see when I make good decisions and bad decisions. But without a doubt, you know, I'm here because of the grace of God. God has been very, very gracious and merciful to me, and I owe everything that I am today, all of my success, to that and to that alone.
Wow.
Oh man,
Wow.
there's so much to say. You know, having Banky right here in the studio, I know millions.
I'm
of people.
preaching now. You got me on my preaching
now,
mode.
and guess what? There's one more thing that they want to hear: love of women. When are you going to marry Banky?
We don't want to talk about it. Let us stay in the house of the Lord.
There's a lot.
You know, but in signing off, Banky's made a very profound statement. We are all work in progress. We're all sinners. We're here only by the mercy and the grace of God. And the truth of the matter is, whilst we were yet sinners, He died for us. So, you know what? It's not about what you do or don't do that makes you righteous. It's about who you are in Christ Jesus. And so it's Be All You Can Be with the Catalyst. It's been a wonderful, phenomenal time with my brother.
Thank you, sir.
I've known him since the last 20 plus years ago, and he's been the same. He's pursuing his dream, and my prayer for him is that, he will fully manifest in the full gifts that and talents that God has given him.
Amen.
And when he gets to heaven, he will be met by God, and God will say, "Welcome, my good and faithful servant.
Amen.
Enter into the joy of the Lord your God." Wow! It's Be All You Can Be with the
We're
Catalyst.
preaching now.
That's right.